What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Check Swing Podcast with myself. Y'all see my name down there. And, of course, the brains and brawn of the whole situation. My man, Coach Santa, is in the building with a rather eloquent background, if I say so myself, once again this week. We got an awesome show that we put together for you today. A lot of things going on in the world of sports. The NBA season is dwindling down to its final days, final weeks. The baseball season is getting ready to start. We got March Madness is in full swing. The first weekend of March Madness has commenced, and we're moving on to the Sweet 16. So we got a lot to talk. Some Eagles news and stuff, all that good stuff. Phillies news, all that good stuff. But of course, like y'all all know, I like to start my show by asking my folks how they been. So Miguel, how you been?
Rushed. Nah, it's one of the better weeks I've had in quite some time. So feel good.
All right. Well, that's good. That's good. Kept it short, sweet, and to the point. You said, "Hey, feels good." How are things in Baltimore? I know that we just passed a year from that tragic bridge collapse that happened, crash that happened last year.
Yeah.
How have things been on that front?
Surprisingly, the traffic hasn't been as I don't know, as much of a pain in the butt. MTA still sucks. That's the transportation system here.
Tony Anthony.
I know, but it's funny. It's funny you mentioned the bridge collapse because this week I think the president had mentioned something about how horrible the whole situation has been, and he pointed to Baltimore this week. And they were doing the NTSB actually did some research and said that pretty much most of the bridges in and around Maryland have not had the proper safety checks, so they all could be at a point of disrepair, so to speak. So yeah, so fun stuff.
In lack of a better term or lack of a better phrase, or in haste of getting people panicked, any bridge could be next, is what they were trying to say.
Which is what I've said all along, but I still cross them like nothing. So
wow, get it together, folks.
pretty much.
Maryland, federal government, whatever it is, get it together. We don't like those types of things happening. But real quick, we want to acknowledge a few things that has happened over the past week. The death of Brett Gardner's 14-year-old son, Miguel. And as of 4 hours ago, maybe 5 hours ago now, they're saying they have actually gone back and said that his cause of death, he fell asleep, he died in his sleep. They were saying it was like a food asphyxiation, but now they have gone back and backtracked on that and ruled that out. They're saying he passed in his sleep. And it's a tragic situation because Brett Gardner's wife passed away on a vacation as well at one point. Am I correct in saying that?
That part I don't recall. I don't recall. I didn't hear anything about it.
I hope I just didn't.
The story that
here's what I have. It says the youngest son of former New York Yankee outfielder Brett Gardner and his wife Jessica, who died after getting sick during a family vacation, didn't die of food intoxication asphyxiation as previously thought, Costa Rican officials said in an update on Tuesday. It says Miller Gardner died in his sleep Friday morning, according to a statement from the couple. He was 14 years old. Wait a minute. So she must be alive then.
Right. It was. Yes. I think it depends on where you put the emphasis.
The comma.
Yeah, the comma. I think because it sounds like also her mother who died, but it was actually Brett Gardner.
And okay, gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, the comma's in the wrong place.
Yeah, it is. It's in the wrong place. So yeah, they messed me up. Yeah. See what happens? That's why I gotta pay attention to English class coming up, because you put the comma in the wrong place, it changes a whole lot of things. accident. I'm not even gonna get into it, but tragic story there. You hate to hear of anything like that, especially from the youth. Didn't even really, I mean, 14 years old, didn't really even get a chance to really experience life yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
May hopefully maybe the life of a 14-year-old, maybe he had the greatest life of a 14-year-old, hopefully, but there's a lot of things that he didn't get to experience, but there might have been a lot of things that he did get to experience that a lot of other people don't, being that his father was a Major League Baseball player. So, just keep the family in your thoughts, and the Yankee family. Also, I believe it was over the weekend. Um, former heavyweight champion George Foreman passed away. Um, and it's funny. I was thinking about it today, and I was just thinking, like, depending on your age, you could remember George Foreman as a few different things, right? Like if you are, I don't know, 50 and up, 60 and up, maybe you remember George Foreman fighting the likes of Ken Norton, fighting the likes of Joe Frazier, fighting the likes of Muhammad Ali. Um, if you are, I don't know, in the 30, 40-year-old age bracket, you probably mostly know George Foreman for the Foreman Grill. A lot of students had a Foreman Grill in their dorm room and in their kitchens and all like that. And me being a boxing fan growing up, I remember him in his second tenure as a heavyweight fighter. It's funny. Just a couple months ago, maybe just a month ago, I sent a text to my friends in a group chat, and I said, when George Foreman was fighting, came back and fought after his 10-year hiatus, because he was retired for 10 years. He was in his 40s, I believe. At least when he won the championship, he was in his 40s. And I was at my age as a teenager, I was so scared that George Foreman was going to die in the ring.
yo,
because
I
I
thought
because they
that.
made it seem like he was so old. Like, what is a 40-year-old man doing in the ring? And then he won, and they just act like it was such a miracle that he actually won. But there are some heavyweights alive today that say like George Foreman is the hardest hitting heavyweight that they ever fought. And this was when they fought him in his second go round as a heavyweight. But yeah, I was scared to death that George Foreman was going to like die in the ring.
Yeah,
And but obviously he didn't. And
thankfully.
I was a George Foreman fan. And then when I turned 40, I was just like, why did I think he was going to die in the ring? Like 40 is not as old as I thought it was. Like I guess I thought 40 was so old. They just made it sound so old on TV.
Yeah, my goddaughters make it sound so old now, like I'm so old now. Because they always ask, hey, Pat, what time are you going to bed tonight? 6?
Yo, so the funny, here's a funny thing, and we got one more to speak of, but it's funny when I talk to students or players that I coach, and they say to me, back in the olden days, back in the olden day,
Olden
like, hold
days.
on, man.
I
The
just want to
olden
be.
days was before me. What you talking about?
I just want to be like, all right, can you spell that in front of everybody right now? Jackass.
Back in the olden days, did you and I think about like when I said that to like an old head of mine back in the day, and they probably wanted to slap the hell out of me for saying that back in the olden days. Um, but one more death. Well, last week we lost another NBA player. Oliver Miller passed away at I believe at the age of 54, I believe. I know he had some issues. He had some cancer for a while, but Oliver Miller, I will always remember him as playing for the Phoenix Suns, and I believe he was on the team with Charles Barkley that
He
went to
was
that NBA Finals. But
on the
yeah,
rap.
I always liked him as a basketball player. I always seemed to spot him um, as a basketball player. But yeah, Oliver Miller passed away. I was kind of shocked to see that. He hadn't been in the news in a while, but just kind of shocked to see that. But we're going to move on. and this is an exciting time of the year, right? It's March Madness, right, Miguel? So I haven't done a bracket in like 2 or 3 years, to be honest. I haven't done a bracket in 2 or 3 years, but I will make picks before a game. Um, all my upsets that I picked, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Let me see. I'm trying to find my thing. Here we go.
So can I
Uh,
ask a question? Can I ask a question real quick? I know you're gonna
yeah, please do.
when it. So I mean, obviously, basketball is not my thing, especially college basketball, because I don't know. Is it after 2 years you can declare for the NBA?
After one, so
After
it's
one.
after it's a year after your high school graduation.
So do you find that let's say the last like 5, maybe 10 years, do any of the big name players that go into the draft number one through like number five, do you find them staying in college longer than that year?
You're saying of the players that have been drafted, like the top
Mhm.
5 players, are they? So I'm sure there are some that I'm not thinking of, but a majority of them have been those one and done players. A majority of the players. I mean, thinking about even taking back to Joel Embiid. We
Yeah.
talk about him a lot. He was a one and done guy. Ben Simmons was a one and done guy. Markel Fultz, I believe, was a one and done guy. Was he a two? I think he was a one and done guy. But there's a lot. I'm thinking of um, I saw a commercial just not too long ago. A guy plays for the Thunder. Um, darn, why is his name Shea Gilgis Alexander? I think he was a one and done guy, and he's like one of the top players in the league right now. I don't know where he got drafted, but he was one. He was a high draft pick.
So would you say the quality of the games, like, because I think that's what has turned me off about college basketball since like the '80s. Not that I was really a basketball fan, but when I'm
So
thinking,
here's what I will say: have the quality of the to me the quality. I mean, obviously, with the different times, you're going to have different style of games, right? And of course, you and I, growing up in the '80s, '90s, we like a certain style of game, and that style of game obviously isn't being played in the NBA, but in college, they play that style of game a little bit more than what you see in the NBA level. But with that being said, I don't think in my opinion, and please, anybody out there, please let me know in the chat how you feel about it as well. You can answer Miguel's question as well. The quality of the game to me it has gone down a bit, but it hasn't dwindled like it has in the NBA. But what I feel like has happened is the it's harder now I'm going to say this wrong. It's harder now to follow a team, or no, it's harder now to keep up with a team because, especially if you're not in the area of the team. So, for instance, me, when it comes to college basketball, I'm a North Carolina Tar Heels fan. I'm not hearing North Carolina Tar Heels radio here. I'm not, all I can consume is articles. So for me, keeping up with them and what they're doing it's more difficult because guys are not staying as long. So I'm not learning who these guys are. Like when I think about when Rasheed Wallace was there, he was there for a couple years and then he left. Vince Carter was there for a couple years, then he left. So you saw the build up and you kind of built up the excitement of somebody to go into the NBA, which made the NBA game better because you saw what they did in college and you wanted to see how they progressed or regressed. You don't get that now. You don't get that now. And here's another thing I'll say. A lot of people feel like this year's tournament has been like very lackluster because we haven't had the upsets and stuff like that, right? Which there hasn't been a whole lot of upsets. I mean, you had one upset where I think it was McNeese State beat Clemson. Any other upsets other than that have been like, they were closer in seeding. Okay, I'm not gonna say they were closer seeded, but closer in seeding. Like you had your 8-9 matchup, maybe the 9-1 or something like that. Um, excuse me, you had a 10-2 matchup where the 10th seed beat a 2 seed, but you haven't really had that big, that 15-2 upset. and a theory on that with the transfer portal and all that, and NIL and all that, you're not seeing the recruit the looked over high school recruit. You're not seeing them end up at a smaller school and tearing it up, because with NIL and stuff like that, now you'll see them enter the transfer portal. They made some noise at a school. Okay, now University of Wisconsin has a good NIL program. Now they go to that school, but they may not get a whole bunch of playing time, but they'll go to that school for the check, right? And you're seeing that happen. You're seeing that happen with a lot of these smaller, what they call mid-major schools, where guys, good athletes are leaving these schools for that check, right? So it's watering down the field in a sense. But that's just one of my theories on why the tournament has kind of been lackluster this year. Hopefully, it gets better. But that's my 2 cents on it. If you have an opinion on it, you can leave it in the chat, or of course you can hit us up on the phone line, which I'll be pulling up the phone number for y'all in just shortly. Coach,
Sir.
let's talk about some stuff. Let's talk about some baseball.
Woohoo.
Talk about some baseball. And I want to talk about the Phillies.
Okay.
Of course, I want to talk about the Phillies. Who else is there to talk about? And I want to ask you a question. I want to ask the people a question, and you guys can answer it. Do you feel like this Phillies team, and take your answer and go right into talking about the Phillies? Do you think this Phillies team currently constructed is a World Series winning team? I'm not asking you, do you think they will do it? I'm asking you, do you think how they are currently constructed, it's possible for them to do it?
First, I want to say yes. There's always that potential. I just think there's so many variables, but they can't come up short like they did last year in the playoffs. And I think baseball's kind of always a hard game to gauge from the beginning of the season because as you can see, like the Phillies were one type of team during the regular season, and then they just completely shut down and crap the bed in the playoffs, especially against the Mets. Um, what I do like, so the season starts in about 3 days. I do like some of the moves that they've made. Like for instance, as much as I know he was a fan favorite, but Garrett Stubbs was an option to AAA. I know he was famous for the SpongeBob onesie in the celebration and stuff like that.
Fun guy.
Um, funny guy. But other than hitting the occasional home run once every 3 months, he's whatever. But
You
you
said
have to
that
start,
often?
huh?
So he was hitting them that often?
If that much, right? But there was talk. Okay, JT Realmuto is going to have to start taking some time off. So now you got to start thinking about the future. You know what I mean? Especially at catcher. So I like the move that they made in making Rafael Marcan the backup catcher. And I think you and I had talked about like he's a switch hitter. He actually has a really really great arm, and for whatever reason, he does better in the major leagues than he does in AAA. So he hits at the big league level. This will be his I believe his third time in the big leagues, and it kind of came down to luck because I think in the major leagues you get like three or four options. So once you get to your fourth option, meaning you get sent down to the AAA more than three or four times, then you have to be put on waivers. So the Phillies obviously didn't want to do that. They didn't want to lose Rafael Marcan, so they did the smart thing by keeping him and having him as the backup and starting to groom him to be the future catcher of the Phillies. Um, Johan Rojas. He's a little bit of an enigma. Great defensive center fielder. He had an okay spring. I think he started showing some power late. but and he did suffer a shoulder injury in winter ball, which could explain why he hasn't really been hitting too well. But he's got to hit. He has got to hit, and my whole thing is, I think if he literally does not hit this summer, then you got to trade him. He's young enough that you can get something back for him. And I think you have to start thinking about Justin Crawford as the future. I, I think this is going to be a transitional year too. So if Schwarber doesn't come through, if Romuto doesn't come through, if Castellanos doesn't come through, you may have to start thinking about dumping some salaries, trading some people, and start bringing up your quote unquote young guns. And um,
So it sounds like you're saying the window is closing on this group.
it's closing, but
Or this is the last year of the window for this group.
I'm thinking, yes, I don't want to say it's the last year, but it's like, you remember when that window was closing with the first Phillies team with the Utleys and the
Shoot,
Rollinses
that
and
window was closing the year before they won the World Series because they were old. They were old when they won it.
um some of them, yeah, I guess you could say that. But I still think they left a lot on the table. That Phillies team should have won a minimum of two, maybe three World Series, in my opinion. I
Mm.
with the lineup alone, but I think there was a lot that was left on the table, and I think the Phillies are a couple people away now. Of course, Suarez is going to start off on the IL because he has some back issues, some carryovers from last year, so he's
Right.
going to
So
start off.
Suarez being injured doesn't help your roster to win the World Series.
Not especially since Taiwan Walker is now your for number five starter, and I believe his ERA is like 142, which is how much I weighed in third grade. And I think that one good move I do like, the Phillies picked up through waivers a reliever, Carlos Hernandez. He's like 6'5", 250, throws 102. He's only 28 years old. And I think his ERA last year was only at in three. Let me see. Yeah, so he last year was a comeback year for him. He had 20. He pitched in 27 games. So he's pretty much like a middle reliever slash closer. In 22 and 23, he had some bad years coming back from injury, but last year his ERA was 3.3. And he was kind of a key cog for the Royals. So hopefully he can kind of help you on the back end of the bullpen because that was another area of discontent for the Phillies last year. So to answer the question, yes, but they got to do it now. Yes, it's
Okay.
time.
So
On paper, yes, but it's time.
this so you're feeling like without making any roster moves, anything. This team currently constructed could do it. Um,
They
I think
should.
they have to get Ranger back. They got to get Ranger back in there for
I
sure.
mean, and
Because
the other good thing is too is Christopher Sanchez has had a fantastic spring. He looks like an ace, which is great. But now the season starts. Let's see if that ace isn't
right,
can
right.
translate.
Yeah, I never get too excited about what guys do in the preseason baseball. Um,
Right.
just because it's preseason, everybody's working out some stuff.
Mhm.
Here's what I will say. Shout out to Kevin McGonigal. You know who Kevin McGonigal is?
I heard. I know the name. I'm trying to remember
Okay, so
what.
Kevin McGonigal is a graduate from Monsignor Bonner who
Yeah, yeah.
with my last year coaching, I believe it was my last year coaching when I coached the county all-star game. He was on my team county all-star game. And just so happens his uncle used to be my mechanic. But anyway, um on Sunday afternoon, I believe it was Sunday afternoon, he goes yard off Nola in the beginning
Yeah.
of the game. He went yard off
What
Nola.
team? What team is he playing
Detroit.
for?
Plays for
Detroit.
Detroit. Yeah, he went yard off Nola. And I wanted to text you when I saw that it happened. I wanted to text you. I don't know why I didn't. Because I know how you feel about Nola at times. So I just wanted to let you know that. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't follow Detroit. I don't think he'll be called up this year. I mean, I don't know their situation. Maybe he will. I have no idea, no clue.
It's still good to hear a local kid making it, or at least
Absolutely,
attempting to make it.
absolutely, absolutely. Shout out to them. Um, Sticking with the baseball theme, right? So a couple weeks ago, we showed you guys some hats that Major League Baseball was coming out with. But then they had to put the kibosh on it because of the designs. Just
So 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 to,
they sent people in the uproar.
I mean, who doesn't want a $35 hat that says Tatas on it? You know what I mean? Which is now selling for $1,500.
Wow, wow. Wish I had bought that hat so I could sell it. But excuse me, this been a long couple of days, Miguel. It's only Tuesday. It's been a long couple of days. Um, so it's a minor league team that has put out their new logo, and
Yeah,
they're called the what city, whatever city
all right.
they're called the Oyster Catchers.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not a new uniform. It's a uniform that they're gonna. The minor league does this. Minor league system. AAA teams do this all the time, where they'll have like themed jerseys on certain nights. Like Phillies,
Ah,
their
okay.
their Reading team sometimes they play as the Iron Bacons because of the Iron Pigs. So
Okay.
they'll have a bacon jersey, and then they'll attach like a cause to it. Okay.
Okay.
So just a little backstory. This is the Double A affiliate for the Baltimore Orioles. So hey, it's local. Um, they were formerly called the Bowie Bay Sox. They decided to kind of
Oh, it's
re-image.
the Bowie Bay Sox doing this.
Yes, but the Bowie Bay Sox changed their name this year to the
Okay.
Chesapeake Bay Sox to kind of, I guess, cover the people or the area, the
Okay.
the the demographic, white, So they just wanted to cover, whatever.
Like the Shorebirds don't already have that area covered. What are y'all doing? But go ahead.
Right. So they decided that they will transform into the Oyster Catchers for several games with a modified logo. Um, it's for a good cause, but I just want those that are watching to kind of guess what this looks like.
Now, if you're a little kid, you're not going to know.
Hold up, are we a rated show? Are we not rated?
I don't know, but I'm putting it up there.
So let's do
I
the
mean, I'm on. I'm streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So I'm putting it up there.
right.
Somebody's going dingus for it
Let's do the not the close up screenshot, but the screenshot with the whole thing first.
with the bird.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put that one in
All
there.
right. So this is the post from the Chesapeake Bay Sox that was posted a couple days ago. So they doubled down on this after some feedback. So it's some saw an oyster, others saw something unexpected. We see an opportunity to turn viral laughs into positive impact. So this is now connected to Women's History Month, where 10% of all of the oyster catchers merch sales will support I Am a Survivor, which is it supports cancer research and everything like that. But for those of you who may not have or don't have good eyesight right now put up the close up. This is the close up of the actual uh, logo. Um, it's a oyster being caught by a catcher's mitt.
With a
Uh,
baseball that I think is probably supposed to be the pearl,
correct. And
but the seams of the baseball are not very demonstrative.
yeah,
But that's what it is. For their theme night. That's what they will be. That's what will be part of their apparel on that night. So
personally, I want to purchase the hat, or I want to get like a logo, like a sticker, and I want to stick it on my boss's office.
well, all right. You do that. You probably will have that opportunity.
just for kicks. I just want to do it just for kicks.
You probably will have that opportunity, being that you are, kind of in that area. You might just get your chance to do that. Let us know what you think about that. Are we just some freak balls, or do they? Like I said, little kids not going to see that. Little kids not going to make that out.
Not at
Some
all.
little kids might. Some little kids bad. All right, let's just
Some
be honest.
dirty
Some
little
little kids
kids.
are just bad, and they just going to know. Just keeping it real with you. Miguel, you wanted to give a shout out.
Yeah. So let's see. So I wanted to give a shout out to so my team that I coach in the summertime. I start coaching them in the summer, probably week after Memorial Day, week of Memorial Day. So a lot of them started high school this year, and this is their first ever taste of high school baseball. So the next two videos, they're real short, but this is a clip of my catcher. His name is Cole, who got his first hit. He's I guess he's batting 1,000. I don't know. But he got his first two high school hits in his first two at bats, a double and a single, and I believe two RBIs. So I just wanted to celebrate him real quick. Do the second video first.
I'm glad you said that because I almost let it rip. Here we
I
go.
know, I know.
Baby putting on for the city. Baby, he
Let
the
me see
realest.
him.
Baby, probably got a couple million. Baby, having 4 or 5 killers. Baby, got children. Baby, probably still drug dealer. Baby, ain't a trapper, he a rapper. Baby, making classics.
And then the second one.
So a cop better move first, bust a move. Cause all my with the jealous pop out, know I keep a tool. Get your top knocked off, leg shots, half boy running out of shoes. Let a try to flex on me, get shot at with your bull.
What's his name?
His name is Cole, and I can't think of his last name at the moment, but it's not
Con-
important.
Congratulations, Cole. What school does he go to?
Let me see.
Well, don't worry about it. Congratulations, Cole. You got on getting. It was his first high school hit, or just his first hit of the season?
High school. His first two
Congratulations,
at bats in
Cole.
high school.
Huh?
First two hits in high school.
Congratulations, Cole, on getting your first two high school hits. It is a milestone because
And,
not everybody gets hits in high school. I'll tell you that right
and,
now. I
and his
know
name is
people that.
Cole. His name is Cole Lindsay, and he hit the ball to the opposite field, which he never does. So that shows me that he's improving.
Awesome job, Cole. Keep on improving. Keep up the good work. Um, wish you all the best for the rest of your season as the high school season is finally underway. Also sticking with the baseball theme before we get into some other things. Last week, you know what? A lot of things happen like after we do our show.
Hmm.
You realize that like a lot of things, like things always happen after we do our show. And it's like we got to kind of figure out how we're going to get these things into the show. But the Department of Defense at a certain point last week, basically they were scrubbing stuff from their website. And one of the things they did was they scrubbed Jackie Robinson's. There was like a page dedicated to his service record or something like that, something along those lines. Um, and they deleted it. They deleted the page, and they probably thought nobody was going to notice, but somebody did. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna just put it. You know what? I'm not even going to say it on there. I'll just tell you afterwards. But somebody blew the whistle on it, and they got out there and they put it back. They put it back. I was actually shocked that they put it back, to be honest with you. But it wasn't just Jackie Robinson. It was the records of other minority
Tuskegee,
men and women, the code
Tuskegee,
talkers.
the
I'm sorry,
Tuskegee Airmen.
Tuskegee Airmen. Women that have done things like they. It wasn't just Jackie Robinson. It was a lot of things that they scrubbed, and Jackie Robinson was part of it. But they have since they put Jackie Robinson back up. I don't know if they put everybody else up there. But
So
they
the story that I heard is that they put most of them back, and the
okay.
the person that was in charge of handling the website, I believe the explanation was that he got a pretty firm directive from Hesketh or whatever, the neo-Nazi guy. Um, and he literally did a search on the website for, and I believe this is what he was saying, DEI and all of the terms or most of the terms for that fit under the DEI umbrella, like inclusion, like
Mhm.
racism and stuff like that. And any page that had those items on there was to be removed.
Mm.
That's kind of how he accidentally removed. He went by the results and not by reading through the content.
Ah, well, we see what happened when people spoke up. I mean that. I mean, that was a bad look for them. That really was a bad look for them. I mean, I know whoever saw it and blew the whistle. Kudos to you because there's a lot of people that would not have ever noticed that was up there. That was taken down. I'm just saying. But kudos
Yeah,
to people that keep an eye out on things.
yeah, it's getting bad because I'm part of our DEI council at where I work at, and in one of our meetings we were talking about how we're going to handle the oncoming, I guess, assault on the initiatives and stuff like that because it's a real threat. And we received a list of like terms and words that were going to be possibly banned by this administration. And if any of these words pop up in our websites, in our academics, anything like that, then we would have the funds removed. A couple of them were women, justice, injustice, and female. So
Wow.
it's like, okay, so am I supposed to not call you a woman or a female? Do I call you a penisless man? Like what are the alternatives? Like who comes up with this crap? Seriously, like what's the alternative?
Hey, there's people out there that make a whole lot more money than me that have to answer that question because I don't have the answer. That's way above my pay grade. I don't know.
I mean, you could argue that there's been an overcorrection on certain things, but at the core of diversity, equity, and inclusion, it shouldn't be touched. The core principles of it. But yeah, I understand like there's argument for the overcorrection and stuff. I get it, but it,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
know. I mean, like, yeah, it's a slippery slope. It was actually, and we getting away from the sports conversation, but it's all right. I mean, the world is much more than sports. But we will be getting back to. Don't worry. There was just I don't know if you heard about it down there, but University of Penn
yeah,
just
with the
you
swimmer,
heard about it down there, all the way down there. They
yeah.
just had to make some adjustments. Let's put it that way. Um, due to federal funding cuts. So things are getting tight. Nobody is exempt at this point right now. Everybody that may think their job is safe. You just don't know. You just don't know. It's a scary time, scary time. But we're here to talk about some sports. We're here to have some fun. We could talk about the scary stuff on another show. We'll create a new show here on New Twist Radio, and we'll talk about the scary stuff, and we can get it popping. The Eagles, Philadelphia's favorite team. Before I even get into the Eagles, shout out to Jason Kelsey and his wife. They're expecting their fourth child. They just made an announcement, so they're expecting their fourth. I believe is their fourth child.
So you know what that means? They were celebrating the night of the Super Bowl win.
Maybe I don't know. He seemed a little. From what I heard, he seemed pretty hurt that his brother didn't win. I mean, I'm sure she was happy Philly won, but he might have been pretty hurt. But we get over things pretty quick.
Obviously, since he now has his fourth child on the way.
We get over things pretty quick.
Mhm.
Avante Maddox. It's a name that I was wondering about because I wasn't hearing too much about, right? And over the last few years, Avante Maddox has gotten hurt with the Eagles, and missed some time. But anytime he was in there, he was effective. He was very effective, and he was a great He was a great filler inner. I don't even know how I want to say that. I want to say he was a great backup.
He was a great sub.
Dara says she's been pregnant. Okay.
Oh.
I just made the announcement now. I get, you're not supposed to say nothing until like 5 months in or something like that, I think.
Oh, towards the end.
She says she's towards the end of her pregnancy. So
there you
go. But Avonte Maddox, now, I knew that he was probably going to be going. Actually, I kind of thought that he could be coming back, being that, we lost so many people in the defensive backfield, but there was not a lot of talk about him. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a shame. It's kind of a shame to see guys that have been around for so long go. You know what I mean? But he was very effective when he played here in Philly. He filled in very well in times of like for Slay, for Bradbury, in the slot, wherever he had to go, he went in there and he did what he had to do. So shout out to you, Avonte Maddox. He's signing with the Lions, the Detroit Lions. After 7 years with the Eagles. Played here in Philly for 7 years. Now he's going to Detroit. What we can say is he may have an opportunity to, he's going to have an opportunity to play competitive football.
Yeah.
That's the best you could probably ask for. He's going to have an opportunity to play competitive football because we don't know what they're going to be. They lost defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, whatever. But we don't follow Detroit, so it is what it is. But here's something interesting. And one of these is new to me. Russell Wilson is new. I'm hearing this for the first time. But Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson signed with the New York Giants. I'll be honest with you, Miguel. If I'm Russell Wilson, I guess he really ain't got much of a choice. But if I'm Russell Wilson, I'm not signing with the Giants because I'm gonna get killed.
Maybe. But maybe he sees it as worth the money. Because he's not he didn't say he was signing to win championships.
Oh, we know that. He didn't have to say that. We already know.
You're right.
We already know that you're not signing to win a championship.
Right.
But I mean, I think just thinking about it, like who's the quarterback in Pittsburgh now?
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. No.
Mm-mm.
No, it's not. Justin Fields signed with the Jets.
Yeah.
I don't even know I don't even know Pittsburgh's quarterback. Anybody out there in the chat, let us know who is
Aaron Rodgers is visiting with them.
So it might end up being Aaron Rodgers. I mean, where else can Aaron Rodgers go? Ain't nowhere else for him to go. And be competitive. I can't see him going somewhere to not be competitive at this point. I mean, this got to be Aaron Rodgers last year. He's been a non-factor last 2 years. Got hurt 2 years ago. Was a non-factor this past year. This got to be his last year.
It should have been his last year 2 years ago.
Speak up. I can't hear you.
I said it should have been his last year 2 years ago.
Gotcha. Yeah. But yeah. He probably should have never put on a Jets jersey.
Yeah.
It is what it is. You come to Philadelphia, Aaron Rodgers, and I don't mean as an Eagle. You come to Philadelphia, be ready. We don't care how old you are. We gonna eat you alive. That's what we do. Jameis Winston signed in there though. I'm thinking about Jameis Winston. I feel like Jameis Winston has become like everybody's favorite backup quarterback because of his personality.
Did you see him do interviews at the Super Bowl?
Yes, I did.
Dude,
he was amazingly fun.
He was amazing. He was absolutely hysterical. Especially when he was going to each player's like cubby and asking them like random questions. Like I think he was he ended each question session with like, oh, where should I sign? Where should I sign? So
he sure did. Excuse me. He sure did. I mean, he was great. He was fun, man. He was fun to watch. He gave some life to Super Bowl coverage, which to me, Super Bowl coverage gotten, it's tending to get a little stuffy, you know. Um, but he gave us some fun times with it. So, watching that, it was a good time. It was a good time. The NBA, Miguel, you put this in here. I don't know anything about this, so you're going to have to tell me about what's going on here.
So it's just speaking of a trend that's going on in not just basketball but like professional sports, where these ownership groups are taking over and owning these sports franchises. So in this article, it kind of talks about like the shift of basically micromanaging these organizations and making them become more efficient and all this stuff. Where it could affect the product. Like if you look at basketball, for instance, and you see like the ownership group of the Sixers, who's who, Jason Harris, right? And then you see he also owns the Washington Camaradeers, right? And he also owns the New Jersey Devils. But the one common thing, other than the Commodores, is that none of his teams win. But it's not important. So what's really important is about how the money flows, how efficient this is, how we're doing concessions. So it's kind of something to look out for in the future, where instead of like Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan owning a team, it'll be like the Fritz Spitz brothers law firm and stuff. So it just kind of speaks to like where I guess the world is heading. In Baltimore, it was a lawyer that was born, or a Jewish lawyer that was born and raised in Baltimore, and he actually is bringing on like Harukin Jr. and he wants to bring back Eddie Murray. So he's trying to kind of build like a homegrown ownership versus, I think Boston, they had an equity firm, like okay, an equity firm put up $1 billion to purchase the Boston Celtics. Um, the other thing was too is that there was a person, a single owner that actually put a bid in on the Boston Celtics, but he believes that he was actually blocked from the sale, and he actually had more money to put down, but because they had an equity firm and a law firm kind of like mixed together, it looked better as a portfolio. You see how like it starts to becoming like so like it's
Yeah,
boring, but it becomes crumbled.
yeah,
But it doesn't speak to, okay, does this owner want to win? All you hear is about equity, but it talks about financial equity. It doesn't talk about winning championships or anything like that. So, and not for nothing, but this is what I think football started this, where the I think it was Paul Tagliabue, where he publicly said like we want parity, like we don't want like the Steel Curtain winning every year or the 49ers winning every year. We don't want like your traditional um whatchamacallit, what's the term? When a team wins back to back to back to back to back to back.
like your dynasty, your
Right.
legacy team.
Yeah, we don't want traditional dynasties anymore. We want a couple teams here and there, but we just want it to look like everybody has a chance to win. And then you add the gambling aspect to it. It just kind of throws things into the fire of it. So,
Yeah,
but it was
yeah.
just giving people kind of something to look against, I guess, in the future.
Yeah, the franchise is being owned by businesses, and then on top of that, the fact that these leagues are businesses and the players are also treating themselves as businesses, as the teams are treating them as business assets. So, I mean, all the professional sports at every sport, every level, more than likely. I mean, is there's so much aspect. I mean, so much business aspect to it. You look at the one of the reasons, um, one of the reasons talked about why Stubbs got sent down. Besides some of the obvious stuff, where's some business reasons behind it. There was some with the money, with Marshawn and his money and all like that. There was some business behind that. There's business behind like boxing, one of the biggest business sports there is. And I'm not going to speak to it but so much. But there was a time when we were coming up, Miguel, you would see and you knew the best was going to fight the best in boxing. That's not the case that much anymore. Now it's all about brand. The NBA used to have the stars in the slam dunk contest. It's not the case anymore because it's about the brand. The players think about their brand while the teams are they own the asset to the athlete while these companies own the teams. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's bad. That's why I love seeing sports like the Big Three.
Yeah.
They were the whole thing was owned by Ice Cube, and then I think this past year was the first year where some teams had individual owners. So I like seeing stuff like that. Some of these smaller leagues come up. There's a 3-on-3 full court women's league. That's pretty dope. I don't know the business schematics behind that, but that's pretty dope to see. So, it's so funny that I'm about to bring this up because I feel like I've had this conversation 3 times today already. The Olympics. I'll let you put this in there, so I'm gonna let you explain it. But if you want to,
I mean, I'll read the title and we can just go in. So this particular news story is World Athletics to require gender testing for female track and field athletes under the new policy. And it's something that they've been talking about for the past Olympics. They were debating, well, if somebody's going to come in as, transgender, how do we make it fair and equitable again? So, because they obviously didn't want somebody just as a physical male performing as a woman. You know what I mean? So it's been something that's been talked about or suggested or, looked at for the last few Olympics. So,
yeah, and I can remember. I want to say it might have been. No, it was. I want to say it was before Brazil, before the Olympics were in Rio.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the ones before Rio. There was a female athlete. I can't remember her name, but she ran the 800.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a long distance runner that.
Yeah, she ran the 800, and there was some controversy about whether she was naturally a man or a woman, but it wasn't that. I don't think, at least they were not saying this. I don't think she was a trans athlete. I think she just had some type of genetic chromosome, something going on. And they wanted her to take some supplements to, like, she had a I don't want to misrepresent, but from what I remember, if I remember correctly, she had a genetic situation that caused her to have more testosterone than a woman normally has. And in that case, they were they were kind of back and forth about whether or not she should compete as a woman or not. So but to test, so with that being said, I'm wondering, like, is this test in place? Like, if she tests, and I can't remember her name, if anybody can remember in the chat, please put the name in there. I believe she was I don't think she was from South Africa, but I think she might have been from an African country. As a matter of fact, I know it wasn't South Africa, but I believe it was an African country. What happens if she takes the test? Like, is she one of those people that would not pass? Because she won a medal, and I believe in the next Olympics she didn't medal at all.
Right.
So, that's an interesting story. But I also, just personally, I personally don't want to see. I'm trying to be careful the way I say it. I believe, Miguel, you put it a good way a while back when you said, thank you. That's who it was. Caster Semenya. Caster Semenya. That's who it was. She ran. Thank you so much. Dar is like our unofficial intern. It was Caster Semenya. So you got to be careful with that. You know, I know times are different today, but like I know that people feel like I know there are people that feel like male athletes say that they are like they say that they're trans. They believe that they say that they're trans because they want to compete against the women and have an advantage. Um, I don't know. I don't know if they're doing that or not. I don't. I do know that they do have an advantage because men and women are just created it differently with the the estrogen, the testosterone. From that standpoint, like I wouldn't want to see a female boxer in the ring with a male boxer, even though what's her name, Clarissa Shields. I think could hold her own against just about any man. I wouldn't say like any of the top males in the sport right now, but who knows? I mean, she can go toe to toe with some of the best of them. But I wouldn't want to see her in the ring with Bud Crawford right now. Bud Crawford's fought some of the best guys out there and is trying to fight Canelo Alvarez. And he's going to probably hold his own against Canelo. I wouldn't want to see Clarissa Shields fight Canelo Alvarez, right? But then I also would not want to see Canelo Alvarez all of a sudden fighting women because that's not going to be entertaining. At the end of the day, sports is still entertainment. And I'm going to feel sorry for the person that was born a woman getting beat up by a man. And I'm going to feel sorry for someone that was born a woman getting blown out on the track. Because we've seen it. We've seen video in high school where a guy was competing, naturally born male was competing against female and just blew them out the water. It was ridiculous. And, I think you said it before, with the mixed gender relays, they're kind of making a lane for trans athletes to be accepted and having events for trans athletes. So
yeah, I think they're trying to test it because again, from a sports aspect, from an athletic aspect, it's one more thing to bet on, and it's one more thing to put on TV.
yeah,
Because what does TV always want? Content. Because content pays the
and
bill
eyeballs.
and eyeballs. So
Eyeballs.
I think when it comes to like when we talk about it, it doesn't matter our personal view on it when it comes to sports because sports is it's about the dollar, like you said. It's about the bottom dollar.
Yep. Yep. It has become that way. It has become that way.
And I ain't gonna lie, I think there's some people that would pay top dollar to see a male move up on the female for whatever reason.
You think so?
I think I could be wrong, but because we're also a sick sorted community too. We like the morbid stuff, you know.
Yeah. I mean, look at the news cycle. The whole news cycle is bad news. Like I don't think a news program that only spread good news would make it. People wouldn't watch it
Right.
because in this
Unfortunately.
country we are conditioned to love the negative. This is what it is, or at least be attracted to the negative.
Mhm.
Think about all the girls like the bad boys. There you go.
Hello.
You got a big dummy. I actually forgot to get the damn video together. I might be able to
Oh,
find it.
the one that you want.
But do you have one? If you have one, we can save it for next week.
Yeah, save it for. So I have both, damn, and
All right, beautiful, beautiful. You're always prepared. So which one am I putting in first?
let's do the damn one. It's a little shorter, but let it play all the way through.
Is this the one on the track?
No, the other one with the
Okay, here we
the
go.
kid with the dreads. And turn the
Baby, this ain't the gym. Cafeteria table ham, Savannah State University. Go Tigers.
I didn't even see what happened.
Start
Oh, I saw it that time.
Baby, this ain't the gym. Cafeteria, your table ham. Savannah State University. Go Tigers.
So let this be a lesson to all you high school people, players. Do not do push-ups on the edge of a cafeteria table. Okay.
Oh, that was that. Oh man. Shout out to Savannah State. Yo, I may have told you this before, Miguel. I just want to tell the story real quick. And if Ryan is listening, he'll know exactly what I'm about to say. When I played baseball in college, we played against Savannah State a couple years in a row, right? Savannah State had a guy on their team named Clay Cleveland. Okay, you can Google him. He did play professionally. I don't know if he ever made it to the show, but he did play professional. I believe he was drafted by the Cincinnati Reds, if I'm not mistaken. But I want to say in a weekend series, and I feel like we played them in 6 games. I feel like we played them in 2 doubleheaders, or we're at least scheduled to play them in doubleheaders 3 days in a row. I want to say this guy, Clay Cleveland, did not hit a home run in one of those games. I was going to exaggerate slightly and say in one of his at-bats. But I know for a fact that in a game that I was catching and I said something to him, I said, hey, Clay, how about you not hit a home run this time? Because he was just hitting home runs ridiculously, right? Mm-hmm. And you know what he said to me? He just grunted. That's all he said. He just grunted. And you know what he did on that next pitch? Hit it off the wall. I said, well, hey, he didn't hit a home run. So thanks a lot. But yeah, Clay Cleveland, man, he had a bat. He was able to hit some home runs. I'm assuming you Google him right now. I'm looking at your looking at your face. He may not have but so many stats, but
yeah, 6'4", 250, drafted in the 39th round in the 2003 amateur draft, but he never made it pro.
Yep. There you go, Clay Cleveland, Savannah State University. Go Tigers. All right. So this is the damn video, right?
No, this is the you big dummy.
I'm sorry, this is the you big dummy. Yes, this is the
and I must warn you, it's gonna make some people mad.
It's gonna make some people mad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see why.
Some people, as in like me.
Maybe it made me mad.
Okay. So, all right. Let's just see it. Let's just. All right. Here we go. Let's consume the content. I'm gonna give him one more. Big dummy. Oh no. So I'm mad, but I'm not mad for what I thought I was initially going to be mad for. Yes, I'm mad that he was a big dummy and he stopped at the wrong line. But at least he didn't run through the line, right? He didn't run through the line that he was supposed to run through. But he thought the race was over. Like he thought he went through the finish line. He's got to know where the finish line is. But he thought he went through the finish line.
But you saw when he passed the guy to gain the lead, he looked back and yelled something like, nah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Dude probably be talking smack or something. Who knows? Dude might talk smack. I ain't going to judge him for that. I mean, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. I'm not going to judge him. Boy might talk a whole lot of smack and then he got hawked down. Or dude is just a jerk and he just wanted to talk smack while he passed somebody. At first when I first saw this, I thought it was us, right? When I first saw it, I thought it was us. But I was like, ugh. But yeah, I mean, so I'm not as mad as I thought I was going to be because he thought he went through the finish line. He just went through the wrong line. You a dummy for that because you got to know where the finish line is. But I'm not mad at him for not running through the line. You understand what I'm saying? He just ran through the wrong line.
Because he got caught up in his arrogance and wanted
He did. Yeah, all that. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. But in a micro, I'm like, he should have won. He thought he won. He ran through the wrong line. And for real, like, okay, and let's put it this way. I'm gonna put this last thing on it. If he was running the way he should have been running anyway, like when the way he ran to catch the guy, he would have ran through the line, even if he thought that first line was the real finish line. So he messed himself up on that. It wasn't a lack of effort. It was a lack of brains on that one. I'm not calling him stupid. I'm saying he thought wrong.
This is what I tell my athletes: never perform angry, because that's
never perform angry.
Never perform angry because that's what that was when you go in front of somebody and you're successful and then you come back at them with the same energy that like I'll pay you back or whatever. That's the stuff that happens all the time. Like I had an angry team last year. We played one tournament weekend where we lost all 3 games 4-3. The entire. Can you imagine if we won those games like we should have? Then we'd be talking about a championship right now. But because they played angry, they kept coming up short every single time.
And you know what they say? If was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. We gotta take them ifs out of the equation. Was that a crow?
Yeah, I hit the wrong button. Sorry.
I'm trying to find the I'm stalling. Oh, here it is. I just wanted to check something real quick before we close out the show. Okay. Oh, my bad. All right, I'm here. Oh, we did have one more thing to talk about. Or did we talk about it last week? We talked about it last week, didn't we?
What?
The maybe we didn't. I think we put it back up. The hazing situation.
Oh, we brought it up to try to start talking about it, but I mean, we can kind of, I guess, maybe start on the main story, and then because I'd really like to get Rob's take on it as well. And I think I have I might reach out to the person from Omega that was trying to get me to to join and get some of his take on it, because he actually has some experience with dealing with certain chapters and having to discipline and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's just for those that are kind of like wondering. Just talking about the Caleb Wilson death at Southern University, right?
Yeah, I believe it was Southern. Yep.
Where he was part of a hazing ritual by Omega Sci-Fi, where he was punched in the chest and died from the punches. So it just kind of speaks to just the whole hazing thing that I am vehemently against. So yeah.
Yeah, that hazing thing, I can't get with it. I can't. I could have never been part of a gang because I ain't trying to get jumped in, and I couldn't be hazed in a pledging situation.
But the issue is that what's the difference between being hazed and being jumped in the game? Like, what's the difference? At this point,
Here's what I'll tell you. What I think the difference is. Being hazed happens over time. Like I don't know if it's every night, some nights, whatever, but it happens over time. Your pledge process usually happens over time.
right?
Getting jumped in from I just whatever I see on TV. I don't know. I ain't never been in a gang, never been part of one. You get jumped in one time, you in.
Mhm.
So if I'm being honest, if I had to choose, if it was a would you rather, I'm taking the gang because it's one ass whooping instead of whatever you're
12,
getting.
12, 13,
Right.
and the occasional broomstick in your butthole.
And oh Lord, and I don't know. And of course, I wouldn't know, but I don't know if anybody's ever died getting jumped in. It's probably, but maybe somebody took it too far. Maybe somebody just really didn't like the person that had that opportunity. But I don't know.
Yeah,
Ever
I
been in
like
a gang? Ever tried to get one?
I do like Ricky Smiley, who is a definitely a proponent of the anti-hazing. He had a panel up, I think, like 2 or 3 months ago, because he's been in connection with the families. And just again for those that are listening, like we talked about hazing in this situation, it wasn't an athlete, but there's a lot of it that goes on in the athletic realm. Because I think even wasn't there a shooting where I don't know if it was Virginia, but it may have been within the last 3 or 4 years where a player was hazed and then he came back and shot 2 or 3 football players. In
That sound. I feel like that
retaliation.
sounds familiar,
Yeah,
but
I'll find the story, but I think that was one of the last major like shootings that was close to here. But it
now I
was
remember some time ago. I don't know if this was. Yeah, you were we were coaching together at the high school. There were a couple schools in this area
mhm.
that, or at least one school in
Yeah.
this area, it might have been a couple different years, and it was a couple
Mhm.
different schools that got in trouble for some. Hey, I want to say it was maybe in a football team. There was one football team that I know of that got in trouble for it, and they ended up firing that coach, or that coach went to jail or whatever, and they hired somebody I actually ran track against.
Well,
Um,
that's why I made the comment about the broomstick in the butt. That was
yeah, yeah,
the
that's the one I'm thinking of.
yeah.
And then there was another school after that got in trouble for some stuff for hazing. And I told the kids, after that report, I came to practice the next day. I told them, I said, look, I said, ain't gonna be no hazing.
Mhm.
I said, we don't do that. And I said, if I lose my job because because y'all got the hazing, if I lose my job, y'all gonna have to see me after you graduate.
Mhm.
or after I just whatever. But
After the court case.
like we gonna definitely gonna have a misunderstanding, and we're gonna have a straightening out. That's what we're
Yeah,
gonna
and
do.
I just hate it for the school. I hate it for the organization because it's just so unnecessary. There's no reason for hazing. I don't care what anybody. I don't care about walking across the sands. There's no reason for one grown man to hit several grown men with a paddle. There's no reason to break their ribs. Any of that stuff. It makes no damn sense. None whatsoever.
And I know people that have been through the process. And more power to them. I know some people that have been part of the process. More power to them. But for me, ain't gonna be for me. Not gonna be
Yeah,
my thing. All right. I do want to give one shout out before I get out of here. You see this M on my chest, right? You
nice.
see that there? Here we
That's
go.
pretty.
See that logo?
Yeah.
That is my daughter's crew team. She rose crew for her high school, and she had her
Oh,
first competition on Sunday, and her boat came in second place in her competition, and her first ever competition. So shout out to them, shout out to her, and we got how many ever more meets or heats or regattas or whatever it is this year, and then 3 more years of them to come.
Yeah, that's what every parent says when they have to drop another $200 on another winning bet that uh, Cole breaks. Welcome to high school parenting, sir. You will officially be broke for the next 7.5 years. Greetings.
I haven't come this far.
By faith. Oh, I thought you were
Not come this far to have to go back. I ain't really come that far, but maybe I have. Who knows? But I'm just being dramatic. Just being dramatic. All right, look, we're gonna get up out of here. Any last words, Miguel?
No, be safe out there. Love the ones that you have. And just treat people right. this world is too expensive, like Laura just posted.
$450 up front. But didn't have to buy anything really after that.
But that's no different than our players paying what $3,000, and then that doesn't include the uniforms, and then their catching equipment.
Can I tell you something real quick, Miguel, and the rest of the world
Uh-oh.
that I did not know until like a few years ago? If you play a sport at a school that is not a public school and you play for the school, you have to pay. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's going to happen this year, but I know in previous years at the previous school, at the end of the year, they bought a coach. They all put their money in and bought the coach a gift, which I really did not understand. I didn't understand it. What are we buying this coach a gift for?
And you don't sound like you appreciate it very much.
I didn't. Like, what are we buying you a gift for? You got paid. Like, what are we getting you a gift for?
Right.
For what? In my opinion, if I'm getting you a gift, I'm telling you, you just babysat my kid for the last 3 months after school. Thanks for not making me pay for daycare. What am I buying you a gift for? Let me get out my face.
Well, but it's because tuition pays for their education, and the teachers.
No, I get that. I get that. And like,
no, I'm with you. That's the BS they told me, so I'm just telling you the BS.
No, you're right. The tuition pays for education. You're absolutely right. Which, when the sports are involved, they tack that onto the tuition. They tack that in. Okay. Right. The gift ain't got nothing to do with none of that. And if that's the case, why I ain't never? I coached for 18 doggone years. Why I never got a gift? You know what I got? My last game. Shout out to my assistant coaches. Some cake, some balloons, and an autographed baseball by everybody on the team. Which is, I have it over there somewhere.
Nice.
I have the baseball for my very first win as a coach in JV, signed by all the guys on the team. And I have my very last game signed by all the guys on the team. That was my gift. That's good. That's all I need. That's all I need. I treasure it. I cherish it. I have it on display over there. That's all I need. I got a paycheck to do it too. Said somebody seems a little soft.
A little bit.
Maybe. I might be. But I'm just like, I'm sorry. And I'm a coach. Coaches don't deserve gifts unless you are an Olympic coach, because Olympic coaches don't get medals. But at the same time, they do get paid. They do get paid. I'm going to leave it at that. We're 20 minutes over. I'm going to leave it at that. That's my rant, man.
Attitude and all.
That's my rant. I don't understand why you get the coach a gift. Like, it's not little league. It's high school, middle school. Like, this is school ball. It's not T-ball, bunch ball. Like, the little kids play soccer. They're all in position. As soon as the whistle blow, they all go after the ball. It's not bunch ball. you're not dealing with these kids that give. I mean, yeah, the high school kids gonna give you a headache. They're gonna give you a headache.
Yeah.
But the little kids do even worse because you got to chase them down and all that. They deserve the gifts. The teachers deserve the gifts. Coaches don't. We don't deserve gifts. We do it for the love. We do it for the paycheck. We do it for the kids. We don't deserve gifts. Actually, not change that. I shouldn't say we don't deserve gifts. That's saying like we don't do nothing. We don't need them. We don't need gifts. A thank you is more than enough. More than enough. And keeping your kid eligible.
Hello. Hello.
Be even better. All right, we're gonna get up out of here, man. Appreciate y'all hanging with us on the Check Swing Podcast with myself and of course the brains and brawn of the situation, Coach Santa. We're gonna get up out of here. We'll talk to y'all next week here on the Check Swing Podcast. Peace out, y'all.